when we are doing the traditional kipping pull-up, we're basically just passing through this position right here, okay? We still get to this position when we're doing the butterfly, and as we're coming back down, we're just getting our work done a little bit more, and then passing through the front, and we're right back at that same spot. Welcome to Misfit HQ. I'm Drew, that's Hunter, and today we are doing the deep dive on the butterfly pull-up, both the chin over bar and the chest to bar. We get a lot of requests for this video, and we are here to sort of dispel some myths and talk you through this movement for what it actually is. Now, the good news is you already know how to do this movement if you know how to do kipping pull-ups. We're just gonna sort of reframe what you think about the movement and erase some parts. So there's not really a ton of addition when it comes to this movement when you're going from a traditional kip to the butterfly. A lot of it's about timing and then erasing a certain portion. So when we are doing the traditional kipping pull-up, we're basically just passing through this position right here, okay? We still get to this position when we're doing the butterfly, and as we're coming back down, we're just getting our work done a little bit more, and then passing through the front, and we're right back at that same spot. So when you're getting to the top and your coach is telling you to push out away from the bar to reestablish that position, that's a really great tool and feedback for learning traditional kipping, which for a lot of athletes really should come first. But now when we're getting into this position, again, we're just getting the work done on the way up a little bit more behind the bar, and then we're passing through the front, and voila, I am in this position that I've been doing since my on-ramp class, since my beginners, traditional kipping. This is a hip-driven movement in the same way. So many things are very similar. We're gonna take you need to learn how to ride a bicycle backwards, throw that in the trash where it belongs, and we're just gonna talk about how to essentially transition from this movement. So what I'm gonna have Hunter do right now is he's going to do one butterfly chin over bar pull-up, and he is going to prove to himself that he could do another by establishing that position again, that position that we all know in our kipping. He's going to establish that before he comes back down. Good. Now what that does by reestablishing that position is it tells us one can become two. And then even if I had him do 2 or 3 or 4, always want him to finish in that position right there. Now what he's thinking about when he's doing this movement, I'm going to have him show you one more, is he's thinking about as I'm coming back through the front, I want to spot my toes in my peripheral vision before I pop my hip. Another common issue when it comes to athletes trying to be more dynamic within this movement versus the traditional kipping is they get that leg out in front and they start to pull, and you see someone really with their legs out in front in that position. This is more of kind of a grip and then hip-driven movement. So he sees his toes in his peripheral vision. That's when he pops the hip. And again, we want to make sure that we're not throwing our chin up towards the bar here because we're not going to push back. We're going to fall through the front. One more. He spots his toes, throws his hip, gets his work done behind the bar, and then proves to himself he could do another if he wanted to. Very good. You're watching this right now and you're like, yeah, I've tried that. It doesn't work for me. What do I do? How can I prove to myself that I can do this? If we need to get our work done behind the bar and fall in front of the bar, then we can do a little drill here where Hunter does one pull-up again and proves to himself that he is going to land in front of the cross section, that direct line underneath. And that way he knows, like, I'm not going to decapitate myself. I'm not going to rip my chin off when I'm trying to do this. I can get my work done a little bit further back than I normally would, let go of the pull-up bar, and fall in front. Good. We see he's in front there. That position, standard gymnastics, if his chest is in front and his legs stay behind, he is just going to swing back pendulum style back into that other position right there. So now with the skill progression, really all we're doing here is saying to ourselves, it sucks when you don't have butterfly and they do another thruster, chest to bar, chin over bar workout in the open, right? So we work on it for a little bit, we get super frustrated, we go back to either bad movements or we go back to the kipping. Somehow someone hits fast forward on your entire year, we're back around, and now it's time to do that movement again that you hate. So what we're talking about today is taking the time throughout the whole year to do 1 into your kip swing, 2 into your kip swing, 3. We're going to climb that ladder. We're going to rest a little bit. We're going to climb again. We're going to keep the reps low, and we're really going to work on the craft of it. If you're a CrossFitter, there's a pretty good chance you're already really working on capacity in other ways. Leave the skills where they belong. Slowly chip away at it week after week, month after month, and then you're really going to be able to get there. So now Hunter, all he's going to do is he's like, okay, I feel really good in that position, and now I'm going to do 2 chin over bar pull-ups and end in that position. He sees his toes in his peripheral vision. He pops his hip. We get back into that position right there. And again, he proved to himself that he could fall in front. Then he got his single. Now he's got his double, and he's going through. Now, if you are worried about taking this transition from the chin over bar to the chest to bar, there are a couple of things that we can do. Very first thing that we can do here is Hunter's going to give me a set of 3 chin over bar, but he's really going to exaggerate this back position right here on his next rep. So he jumps up, hip-driven movement, he's falling through, and then bam. Notice how he had more leverage over his hip. What does that mean, coach? Stop using physics terms. His feet were out in front. There's more of an angle between his leg and his torso. That is the power up that we need to get that chest to bar pull up. Now we're just creating a little bit bigger of a loop. We need a little bit more leverage because the more hip extension we get, the more we're floating up into that position. That's how we're going to start to work on closing that gap between that position. We need to load up like we're going to be able to throw our hips and get ourselves higher. The other thing that's awesome about this is we don't have to go from chin over bar to chest to bar immediately. And I could mean that within that's your warm-up in your session. You're really, you're getting ready to go do a chest to bar workout and you're doing chin over bar and then a little bit higher and a little bit higher just in your warm-ups to prove to yourself super clean movement efficiency at every stop. Or I could mean as you've gone through and maybe you can climb up through 5 in each progression that you're doing, you're feeling really good, just go a little bit higher the next time. Start that progression over, get a little bit higher. When I am in this position right here, my chin is here, my chest is down here, there's space to work here, right? It's no different than throwing 2.5s on the barbell instead of 10s or 15s or 25s, okay? So as he goes through here, we're gonna start over just a little bit. Hunter's going to do, we'll call it a chin over bar and a half, and I'm just going to have you do 3 reps and end in that position, so sort of halfway between. And again, you can see that circle just gets a little bit bigger. He exaggerates that push back into that position. Now magically, he's been working his ass off for 2, 3, 4 weeks, 2, 3, 4 months, and he's going to do the same thing. But what I'm going to ask him to do now is we're going to do a set of 5. Can you handle it? We're going to do a set of 5. We're going to start at chin over bar, and we're just going to work our way down to that position. His 5th rep is the first one that it should touch. He basically only does chest to bar pull-ups, so this could get a little bit interesting. We'll see how he can calibrate through this, but chin over bar to chest in 5. We had an errant chest to bar in there at number 3, but that's because he has cared about his movement efficiency and had a longer CrossFit career, both competing, coaching, all that good stuff. So, recap, with the butterfly pull-up, you already know how to do this movement. We are just erasing that push out and back into this position. We end up back here by falling through the bar and getting back into that position. Then we swing to the back side of the kip, which you already know from your toes to bar and your regular kip. We spot the toes, pop the hip. We're making sure that we're getting the work done behind the bar so that we can fall through again without detaching your jaw, coming back through. We fall through into this position right here, really not allowing ourselves to get into that scorpion position. We're leaving the legs long. Physics takes care of itself. Your torso's on this side, your legs are on this side. They just swing back into that position. We just talked about what happens when your feet get out in front here. This movement is not that complicated. It's really more about understanding what it is and then being nice to yourself and realizing we need to walk and then go, you know, jog kind of slow, and then run a little bit, and then sprint once we get to that part. Be patient with yourself, film yourself, look at Hunter's reps, put them side by side with yours, see what you're trying to accomplish here. Once you really understand it and you're willing to slow down and practice, we promise you, you will get this. If you like what you're seeing or you want to suggest another video, please let us know in the comments section, and we'll see you in the next one.